Hi everyone, welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Stephen and today I'm joined by James and Owen, and this is going to be the extra time video for Everton's 1-0 win over Chelsea. As you can see, I'm smiling quite a bit, still riding high off the match last night. Owen, I'll come to you first, mate. It's the first clean sheet since the opening day of the season against Spurs. What did you think of that defensive display?
I thought we were fantastic from the first kick of the ball to the last kick of the ball. I thought every single player, from Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front to Jordan Pickford in goal, I thought every one of them stuck to the task, and everything we've been missing in the week since, probably Liverpool, it came back, but in a different way. It was more of a realisation that there are going to be moments in the season where things are going against you, and it has gone against us. There's no question about that. And how do you react to that? And we reacted to it by a different type of performance. It was defensive. It was organised. Mm-hmm. Our shape was brilliant. I thought Chelsea could have played until this time next week, and they still wouldn't have got anything. Really impressed and made it long. I think while Dean and Coleman are injured, I think that sort of defensive setup.
This has to be the way.
It has to be sort of be the template, because we haven't got. He obviously doesn't want to play in Konku, which is fine. And then for me, our other sort of right back, Kenny, not really for me is in either kind of situations, defensive or attacking. So I would go for that flat back four of sort of defensive sort of solidity, and then maybe once Dean's back and Coleman's back, we start to become a bit more adventurous. But I think to get us back into that sort of top six reckoning when we're playing lots of top six teams, I think for now on, I would go to a more pragmatic solution, because I think obviously that worked yesterday. It's not going to work against every team because we'll concede the first goal, but I feel like it'll get us a lot more points playing like that than...
Yeah, certainly. I think
definitely better than 5 at the back.
Yeah, 100%.
That was supposed to be a defensive solution, but it just got us pinned back rather than us stop pinning them back in a different way. The flat back four works a lot better for...
Yeah, I think you made a good point there, Owen, talking about, there'll be times in the season when things don't go for you, and there'll be times in the season when things do go for you. And yesterday was definitely, barring the one VAR decision that went against us, which quite rightly did go against us, things were going for us yesterday. And I think the commentator made a comment about 20 minutes left that this wasn't going to be Chelsea's day, this was going to be Everton's day. And James, you mentioned there, the four at the back. What did you think of the shape going into the game yesterday?
I was a bit obviously it was considered. I branded it, of course, Walter Smith FC was alive and kicking. There's what I reacted to that team news yesterday. And I was a bit like, oh, how's this going to be 4 centre halves? But they did excellent. It turned out to be an absolute masterclass. Ben Godfrey at left back really surprised me. I thought he was really solid.
Yeah, 100%. I think
Holgate wasn't bad at all at right back either.
Yeah, I think he was a lot of people's man of the match, Ben Godfrey, wasn't he? And I was really impressed with him. Definitely, in my opinion anyway, is I didn't see the game last week where he played in the same position, but his best game in an Everton shirt that I've seen him in. I think he was fantastic. A lot of people's man of the match, and I think that's definitely it's definitely deserved. He was fantastic. Owen, what did you think of Ben Godfrey?
I think apart from a dodgy sort of spell against Southampton, in his second game, I think he's been excellent every time he's played. I think he's someone who has something that I don't think any of our defenders really have, in that sort of a pride in defending. I think, considering he's come from Norwich, who love to ship goals, I think he sort of got this knack of really wanting to get his body in front of everything. And I think going forward, his attitude to defending and his attitude to the way we've got to sort of get results, I think it's fantastic. I think I couldn't speak more highly of Ben Godfrey, because he's been thrown everywhere since he's come into Everton, different formations, different positions, and he just got on with it. Fantastic, amazing.
Yeah, because
I was very harsh on Ben Godfrey.
Yeah, I think obviously he came into the game against Liverpool for his debut, and he was really good. He seems like a player who's going to wear his heart on his sleeve, and I think that's what we need at the moment, isn't it? You know, a player.
Yeah, I think definitely what we've missed in these sort of this spell between where it hasn't quite gone for us. I think we've missed a character and leads us to sort of say, no, we're not going to get beat at the very least. And I think we played yesterday in what I call a clean sheet mentality, that we were going to get a clean sheet and anything else we got was a bonus. And it worked out like that way. I think if we're playing tough teams, I think with the exception of Arsenal, who are struggling a bit at the moment, I think every other team we're playing coming up roundabout way is a good side who like to keep the ball. So if we go into them every game until maybe we come out of the FA Cup tie with a clean sheet mentality, we will come into an easier spell of fixtures on paper, of course, but it means nothing. You've got to go and earn it. But I think if we go in with Godfrey's attitude of let's keep a clean sheet, and we find ourselves in a really strong position coming into the new year where we could attack maybe European places.
Certainly, when we looked at it and we were all sort of questioning, is it a 5, is it a 4, where's Alex Iwobi going to play? I was just so impressed with him to come into the role at left back, being right-footed as well. Obviously, we've got Mason Holgate was on the other side. We've seen him at right back before, and I think he has a really good game last night. It was good to see Mason back. James, I just want to get your thoughts on Mason Holgate last night.
I thought he was pretty good. I thought it was very solid. I don't think he stood out as much as Godfrey did, but I thought he still he kept the ball well. He is quite good on the ball.
Definitely a good player to have fit, isn't he?
Oh, great to have him back.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, the standout player you gave Ben Godfrey a man of the match. I gave mine and my player ratings yesterday to Michael Keane. I thought he led that defence last night and he was excellent.
Definitely
really standout defender for me.
Standout player, one of the standout players this season as well. Sorry, Owen.
Yeah.
I was going to say, that last night epitomises Michael Keane's career. I think if you play him in them type of systems, them type of games, he'll look fantastic.
Michael Keane is a low block defender.
He is, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's essentially what he is. I think Yerry Mina is a low block defender too, because I think you put him 10 yards further of the pitch, he crumbles. Together, I said to Terry before the game, Terry said, what's going to be your sort of backbone? I said, I'll put Keane and Mina together for this one and play a low block. Because I think if we need a clean sheet and we go into it with a clean sheet mentality, them two in a low block is our best route to a clean sheet. And that's what ultimately happens. I think ultimately we play like the value of a clean sheet so underrated in football, because if you get a clean sheet, you can leave with at least a point. I think there's so much made of let's outscore the opposition, sort of blow everyone away. But if you get a clean sheet and then you find a moment, you'll win 9 times out of 10. Tottenham, currently top of the league still, with that type of mentality. And okay, they dropped points today, but they were playing a team who's awkward. So I think if you go into such games with a will to defend, like Holgate, Godfrey, Keane, me in the back four we're talking about here, if we go in with the mentality of what we did yesterday, we will be in the upper echelons of the league, because it is not a difficult league to be organised in terms of most teams.
It really isn't. It's been a mad season.
Yeah,
if you're organised and you've got a bit of sort of a threat in the final third, you'll probably be in the top 4 or 5, and that's ultimately the way it is. I think teams like Newcastle and Crystal Palace are mid-table. West Ham, even, they're probably the best example. They're in the top 5 by just having a solid defence. Newcastle and Palace, at times they haven't looked amazing, but they're very solid in mid-table because of the organisation.
Yeah, defending's the majority of the game this season, isn't it?
Yeah, I think obviously we'll see what happens in terms of the league and who wins it, but currently in Spain and England, the 2 teams who are top in both of them leagues are teams who pride themselves on defending. So we'll see, but I think we're all right to say that back four ultimately was what won us the game yesterday.
Mm-hmm. And how much, James, did Jordan Pickford need that clean sheet?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the whole team needed the clean sheet, all the defenders, but I think Pickford, even yesterday, I mean, I don't think he necessarily did anything outstanding yesterday. He made that one brilliant save from Reece James' shot, pushed it on the post. Other than that, I don't think he did anything outstanding, but he needs that clean sheet for his confidence. And especially, I think he's up against an absolute barrage of media scrutiny, obviously brought on by the Lovables across the park, who have set out a big witch hunt against him ever since the injury to Van Dijk. And I mean, he hasn't played well at times, both before and after that incident, but I think he's getting a lot of unfair criticism ever since that.
Yeah, and I think he really needed that, didn't he, Pickford? Because, as you said, obviously there's been a massive, a lot of controversy surrounding him. His confidence has obviously dropped, but it was good to see him back to his best. Another player that a lot of people have been raving about on Twitter is Alan. Owen, I'll come to you because, how good was Alan yesterday?
Yeah, I thought he really set the tempo. I thought whilst he defended and protected the back four well, I thought there was other times where he took the pressure off and got us up the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Really underrated. I think a lot of people who went in the game said he looks better seeing him in real time, sort of watching him in the ground than he actually was, you see on the TV, because of how he sort of organises the team. So, yeah, I think I've been a big fan of Alan since he come in. I think he's played pretty well in pretty much every game. Though I'm not sure about his first 30 minutes against Burnley last week. But apart from that, I thought he's been really good. And I thought he was really good yesterday. Next to Corey, who I'm also a big fan of, and also played very well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Alan. I like the way how he started recently more and more to carry the ball when he gets it. There was a few times last night where the Chelsea players let him have it, and because they obviously thought he's a destroyer, he's probably going to pass it sideways or backwards, and he just turned his head and ran straight for the goal, which I really admire, because we've seen it a lot with Everton midfielders recently. There is sometimes an inability to look for a positive pass. And I think Alan
carry the ball, certainly carry the ball.
Carry the ball. I think we haven't had a real good ball carrier since probably Andre Gomez in his first season, and he's obviously.
I'd argue since Ross Barkley myself.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say Andre Gomez was the best example there, but
Ross
Barkley, I think.
I think he sort of came back. He came on for wouldn't call that a cameo, but he did make an appearance last night, Andre Gomez, and I thought he was good. I think he helped us see the game out. James, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I gave him an extra 0.5 on his rating just for the fact that he took the ball on the corner flag and rattled their players a bit.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's the one thing he has got. He is good at the dark arts, Andre Gomez, and I do like that about him. He is good at holding on to possession. And he
did look, the way he was running around now, he did look like he'd played 3 games in a week. He was only on 10 minutes. He
looks like that every time I see him, to be fair. He's technically very good, but physically he's been appalling since.
To be fair, he didn't get dribbled 9 times when he was on. I think he at least stuck to the task.
He's great at taking short corners as well.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about Andre Gomez. I'd much rather talk about Godfrey Sigurdsson, because I thought Godfrey Sigurdsson was fantastic last night. But I'm not a fan of Sigurdsson because what he's given in the last year or so. But last night I thought he was brilliant. I thought his set pieces were really good. I thought normally his set pieces go right into the hands of the goalie, but he didn't last night. He was really good. I thought he worked hard. He pressed well. Yeah. I'd say it's probably his best performance for a couple of years.
I said yesterday in my reaction, it was his best performance for Everton.
Oh, he had a couple of good ones against Cardiff, didn't he? I think. Apart from that,
I remember he scored a peach against Swansea. I think it was in his first season.
Yeah, he scored some worldies, but that was the best all-round performance I've seen from him. Where he's actually thrown his weight around, put in a proper Everton performance, if you like, and I've also got the match winner, which you can never complain about, even if it is from the spot.
Yeah, of course. I think the captain's armband helped him. I think.
Yeah, that really rattled a lot of people when they saw that.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought my reaction was we look like we need leaders to win this game. We've gone for the most passive player in the squad to be captain, but to be fair to him, I thought he was brilliant. I think that role really suits him. I think when he's played for Everton, he's been playing a bit deeper, sort of playing as a midfielder, and I think the game passes him by in that role. But I think if you play him in number 10. It can really help him, because I think that's his role, isn't it? I think that's where he played for Swansea, where he played for Silver, and I think they're probably his best moments. Yeah. I haven't when he's played in the number 10, so I think as long as he plays there, he should be fine.
Yeah. And talking on his penalty as well, it was one of those penalties. it was a rubbish penalty if the keeper saves it, but it's a great one if it goes in.
Was I the only one who was adamant he would miss?
So was I.
I thought he was going to miss.
Yeah, I wasn't very positive when even when it was given, I was a bit nervous.
I wanted it to give it to Dom, but
yeah. Out of interest, what's your guys' take of on the whole Richarlison trying to take the pen situation?
Well, I mean, he scored one against Palace, so I think did Gylfi miss the last couple he had before that?
I think he's missed a couple, hasn't he?
Yeah, he scored against Leicester at the end of last season, but before that he had missed quite a few chances. So on that basis, I wouldn't have. I think Richarlison probably would have missed considering the night he had in front of goal, but Gylfi took it, no frills in the corner, 1-0, and I think it really helped us from then on in. So I don't really like players taking penalties off other players who are designated penalty takers, because I don't think they ever seem to sort of work out. But
never works out. We saw the Lookman incident recently, Morales. But what I really loved about this, we were bigging Alan up before, but he went over and just went, "Hey, pack it in." He's taking it. And
the commentator made a good note of that it was taken away from Richarlison, and he took the ball out from under his arm and gave it to Sigurdsson.
To be honest, if it weren't going to be Sigurdsson who took it, and obviously he's the designated penalty taker, I'd rather Don took it, because I think he's good at pens, and I think he's our striker, and he's best in front of goal at the moment. So if anyone was going to
confidence is higher than Richarlison's.
Yeah, and if anyone was going to take it off him, I'd rather have been Don, but Sigurdsson took it and he scored. So there's no complaints from me.
There's no complaints, and for me, should be plenty of plaudits for Alan, because I think that's another example of his real leadership that he's bringing to this team. We didn't have anyone back in 2015 when Morales acted up, to diffuse the situation, and I think Alan really did that like a proper leader yesterday. So he just sort of said, just calmed it all down, asserted his authority, told everyone how it is, and let Sigurdsson go ahead and take it.
Mm-hmm. Well, in that Everton team we're talking about, there was no leaders like that. They were all quietened by the manager, who didn't like leaders by all accounts. So I'm not surprised that Morales was allowed to take that. But I think Alan yesterday stood up and thought, no, we've got a penalty taker here. But do we have a designated penalty taker, considering we don't get many penalties?
I think it's Luca Dean, isn't it? Whenever, obviously.
I don't remember Dean ever taking
Dean never took one. It was always Baines until he retired.
Luca Dean takes majority of the free kicks, doesn't he? So I'd just assume that if he was in the team, he'd take the penalties or Richarlison, but obviously
I'd imagine James must be high up the pecking order now.
Yeah, I would think so.
I imagine this is a conversation that's born out of a team that doesn't get many penalties when they don't know who's the penalty taker.
Well, this is it. That's probably all offer penalties for the season. We've already had one earlier on in the season. I mean, we can't be.
You're going to give us another one. You really did find something. Even if we weren't offside, you would have found something not to give us 2 penalties in the game.
And obviously, you mentioned there, Owen, about Dominic Calvert-Lewin. You thought he might have taken the penalty. How good is he now? Would you put him at the top of the pecking order in terms of how good he is in terms of the strikers in the league?
I think he's one of the best in Europe. I think, as I keep saying, I've been a big fan of Calvert-Lewin for a long time. I think since his Man City performance, I've really been a big fan of his. He's grown over the time, and I look at him now, and I look at other strikers, and I don't see many better than Dominic Calvert-Lewin at the moment in front of goal, hold up play in our box, defending corners. He's a top striker.
I said this in my reaction yesterday, that he is one of the best in Europe. Maybe not necessarily as a finisher. He's not that kind of Lukaku-esque player who's going to score out of nothing, but he's the best all-round centre forward about at the moment. But maybe Harry Kane.
Yeah, I mean, he does so much with the ball except score, I think, and he's added that into his game, and he's made it like an obvious part of it that he wants to contribute to, whoever's going to make the pass. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I really do hate saying this when we're talking about players, but if we wanted to sell him, we would be getting a lot of money for him, because he's unbelievable. he'd be someone out. As he signs a new contract, I'll be giving him another one.
No, he got one in the summer.
Yeah, I remember that it was made a big deal of that he had signed a new contract and people were happy about it because he finished the season last season really well. And under Ancelotti, and I think people were really happy to see him get a new deal, tie him down because he's going to be a really important.
He's a leader as well, isn't he?
I dread to think where we'd be.
He's a proper Everton player.
Yeah,
I dread to think if we didn't have Dominic Calvert-Lewin this season, I don't like to think about where we'd be because the amount of important goals he's got.
I think this is the moment where we bring up that Marco Silva wanted to sort of loan him out and bring Mario Mandzukic into the football club. So that shows how much Fella knows about football, isn't he? He had an elite striker under his nose and he wanted a 39-year-old whatever striker from Juventus. Good luck, Marco. How's the new job going? It isn't because you haven't got one.
Yeah. And that is going to be it for this one, guys. Let us know in the comments what you thought about Everton's win over Chelsea. We're obviously all still made up with the result. And yeah, go check out the Everton direct links and get your Christmas shopping done. You've got a week or two left now. But that's going to be it for this one, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.